I mean, ain't that the point?
Yeah, well, the world's coming to an end and I haven't even graduated high school yet.
So, what do you get when you put good writing and great visuals in a show? Well, you get a show like Euphoria, and to be honest, I think HBO's Euphoria deserved all the hype it got. Now, don't get me wrong, there are many shows out there with great visuals and good writing, and there are many shows out there with great visuals and bad writing. Just one example is the final season of Game of Thrones. Now, I promised myself I wouldn't use the final season of Game of Thrones as an example of bad writing and great visuals, because I love the show. But to be honest, season 8 of Game of Thrones is what you get when you add bad writing with great visuals. Even though many people hated the ending of Game of Thrones, I have some different opinions on it because I only invested 4 months in the show, not 8 years. But whatever. This video is about Euphoria, and for those of you who don't know, season 2 of Euphoria will start airing on January 9th, 2022. The same day as Attack on Titan season 4 part B, the final season. So I am very excited and I can't wait. And after watching the trailer for Euphoria season 2, I decided this may be a good time to watch the show and see what I think of it again. And wow, it was an interesting journey for me. And so this video will be split into parts, which are: what is Euphoria? Did Euphoria deserve any of the hype? What I thought about the acting, cinematography, visuals and the music, the characters, and my final thoughts on everything. But before we get into all of that, I did take my time to watch the show before making this video, and have to say, this show still holds up. I think this was like my third time watching the show, and I still enjoyed it. Like, even if I knew what would happen, I still enjoyed seeing it happen again for like the third time. Anyway, if you've never watched the show, you're probably wondering what it is about. So, what is Euphoria? Well, Euphoria is a teen drama that came out in 2019, and it centers around the lives of various teenagers as they try to navigate their lives through high school. And our main character in the show is Rue, played by Zendaya, who struggles with some mental illnesses as well as various addictions in the hopes of coping with her illnesses. So it is a very heavy dramatic show that came out on HBO. So if you haven't watched it, just expect a lot of sex or nudity. But I'm glad that's not even the point of the show. It's much more than that. So the first season of Euphoria has 8 episodes, and from episode 1 to 7 in each episode we center around a different character, and we get to learn about them as the episode goes. And then it continues from where it left off on the last episode. So episode 1 centers around Rue, episode 2 about Nate, episode 3 about Kat, episode 4 about Jules, episode 5 about Maddie, episode 6 about Kay, and episode 7 about Cassie. And the final episode 8 is just wrapping up the season and giving some characters a good ending and some characters not so good endings. But I really do like the premise of the show. It's just teenagers being teenagers who make different choices. Some, or maybe I can say most, are not the best choices they can make for themselves, but they're still trying to figure out their lives. And that's what I like about the show, because that's the stage of life I'm at right now. Just trying to figure out my life and what to do and how to make the best choices for me. So I really can't wait and see what they do with the show in season 2. And now on to the next part. Did Euphoria deserve any of the hype? Well, if you've reached this far in the video, then I guess you probably already know what my answer is going to be. In my opinion, I really do think Euphoria deserved the hype it got. I personally loved this show, but again, in my opinion, it does have some small flaws that I personally don't like. But this show is for sure a great show. I loved it the first time I watched it, the second time, and even the third time. I feel like Euphoria is one of the few shows that I've watched that actually gets the teen drama right. Cause like I said, this is a very heavy show that talks about mental illness and addiction and other stuff too. But it's done in a way that's great. I honestly don't know how to put it into words, but it does it better than some other shows I've seen. And yes, I'm talking about you. You know what you did. And another thing about this show is that I couldn't actually relate to most of the stuff that was happening in the show. Like, to be honest, I'm still in high school and I'm not going wild every night, partying, drinking and popping pills all the time. So the high school experiences I'm seeing in Euphoria are different, and they're definitely not mine. Maybe some other people could relate to what was happening, but not me, I guess. But I do understand what some of the characters were going through. For example, the character Kat, in her episode, we got to learn that she was bullied at school by some people, and that is something I feel like some people could relate to.
No one in real life knew that she was famous.
But whatever, everyone has a different high school experience. So all in all, this is a great show. So now, what did I think of the acting?
Is this about that video of that girl getting banged from behind? Because no, it's not me, but just out of sheer curiosity, what could have possibly led you to believe that it was?
I feel like there's not much to say about the acting, Like, of course it's great. I feel like every single member of the main cast put their all into the acting, and it was amazing. There were only a few moments when I felt like the acting wasn't that great. Let me just give you guys an example. Since in the show, sometimes when the characters take drugs or take alcohol, they have to act drunk or high. I feel like sometimes some characters didn't actually convince me they were high or drunk. Anyway, that's just what I felt, okay? So don't judge me. But the acting is still solid. It's great. It's really, really great. And now on to the visuals and the cinematography. So the visuals and the cinematography in the show were honestly phenomenal. Like, honestly, I loved them so much. Some of you may disagree, but I just don't care. I feel like it's one thing to have great visuals and cinematography, but if the writing is bad, then no one will care. And I'm glad this show has great writing. I mean, some people may say Euphoria is even worth watching just for the visuals, but I may have to disagree there. And before you start attacking me in the comments, let me just give you guys an example. So does anybody here remember Game of Thrones season 8 and how many people hated the ending of the show very much? I mean, I just binged the show this year in like 4 months. So even though I agree the show didn't end well, I do have my own personal views on how the show wrapped up. But many people hated how Game of Thrones ended because it had bad writing. But the CGI in season 8 was just amazing. I mean, the visuals were just over the top and the acting was on point. But since the writing was bad, no one cared about how well the visuals were and how amazing acting was. So my point is, if a show has great visuals, it should also have good writing to make people watch it. So the visuals and the cinematography in the show are solid. And now on to the music. Now, the music in the show is seriously amazing and is one of my favorite parts of the show. And in my opinion, the music in this show was just perfect. Honestly, all the music in the show was extremely great, but my favorite was the music produced by Labyrinth. His music was amazing. I honestly loved it so much. I actually now have like most of the songs by Labyrinth played in Euphoria. The music makes watching the series even better. The music is for sure one of the best parts of the show. I loved it so much, and thank you so much Labyrinth for the amazing music you gave us in this show. No one, and I mean no one, could have done it better than Labyrinth. And he's also making the music for Euphoria season 2, and I'm glad he is, because if he wasn't going to make the music for Euphoria season 2, I would have just gotten so angry and I would have just started burning down buildings.
Really, bitch? How?
And once again, thank you so much Labyrinth for the amazing music you gave us in Euphoria. So now it's time for me to talk about a few of the characters in this show. Just to say, I may not talk about all the characters because I'm so lazy, but whatever. So like I said, this show centers around various teenagers, but we do have a main character, and that is Rue. So I've already talked about Rue. She is played by Zendaya and struggles with some mental illnesses as well as various addictions in the hopes of coping with her illnesses. So at the start of the series, she tells us that she spent a good portion of the summer before junior year in rehab. And Rue actually started using drugs when she was a kid while her father was sick. She started taking some of his medication pills, which she shouldn't have taken. And at the start of the series is when she is leaving rehab. But she says she doesn't have any plans of staying clean. But that is until she meets Jules, who I'm going to talk about next. But here, Rue is the character who I actually liked until they threw all her character development down the drain. Shall I explain? As you start the series, you quickly realize that Rue has no plans of staying clean. She still wants to do drugs, and she says it herself, that if she were ever to quit drugs, she would be doing it for her mom and sister, not for herself. She only thinks of stopping drugs when she meets Jules, and through the whole season she gets some character development and stops using drugs, which is good. I loved seeing her getting better, but all that is thrown away in the last episode when Jules leaves her by the train station and she's back to using drugs. I really felt bad when that happened because all the character development she got just went down the drain. But since I just saw the trailer for Euphoria season 2, I really can't wait and see what they'll do with her character. And like I said before, I really did like her character, and Zendaya did an amazing job. Honestly, all the actors did. And next is Jules. So Jules just moved and she's now living with her dad. She's a very fun person, She became friends with Rue very fast. Her hobbies include having one-night stands and texting random guys. And she is not at all crazy, like some people, right? Right?
You have no fucking idea. Fucking Christ, you're psycho. Fucking invincible. By the way, I'm Jules. I just moved here.
Well, she's just a little bit crazy. And Jules did go through a lot this season. She met Rue, who quickly became a very good friend of hers, and a little more than a friend. She started texting this guy, who she started to like, until she found out it was Nate, which was devastating for her. But all in all, I did like her character, and I can't wait to see what they'll do with her character in season 2. And before I move on to the next person I want to talk about, I just have to say that I may not have much to say about some of the characters, so just keep that in mind. And next is Lexi. I feel like Lexi wasn't even a big part of the show. I just wanted to mention her because I really liked her. She was fun to watch, she made me laugh on some parts, and she's genuinely just a good person. So I really liked her. And next is Cassie. So I did like Cassie, and she also went through a lot this season. First of all, finding out she was pregnant and then getting an abortion. She really had to make some tough decisions, and I actually don't have much to say about her. But I really can't wait and see what they do with her character in season 2. McKay. Okay, so I also felt like McKay wasn't a big part of the show. I feel like his intro in episode 6 was the shortest, and we really didn't get to learn much about him, who he is as a person, without football or without Cassie being involved. I feel like his character was mostly in the show because of him being Cassie's love interest. But since at the end of season 1, it's kind of shown like him and Cassie are broken up because of some of the stuff she said.
This is the first time since the beginning of high school that I haven't been in love with somebody. Honestly, I love that for you.
But oh well, we will see what will happen in season 2. So on McKay's character, I'm not sure what to say about him. I feel like he was alright, but there were some stuff that he did that I didn't like. For example, when he took Nate's advice, yeah, that did piss me off, but you do get to learn that he actually loves Cassie. But again, he does have some issues. So I guess I don't know what I think of his character. I guess I'm undecided. And next is Kat. So I think Kat can easily qualify to be my favorite character. But again, she isn't my favorite character because through the season, she does some stupid stuff. But again, she does come around. So who is Kat? Well, I'm not good at explaining stuff or anything really, but Kat is a person who was bullied at school for some time, and she wasn't that confident until a sex tape of her came out, and at first she was angry and embarrassed, but then she decided to start making porn videos. First of all, I just like to say that I do like her character. I kind of even love her character because the idea of her not being confident and not being happy with her body and then getting her confidence and being proud of her body is a good idea. But the way it was executed, oh wow. I really didn't like her doing the porn stuff, but then she met Ethan. Good, kind-hearted, loving Ethan. Honestly, Ethan wasn't even a big part of the show. He was only there to be Kat's love interest, but on the few parts I saw him, I liked him because he's genuinely a good guy. And I honestly loved how at the end of the show, in the last episode, they made them get together, and the fact that the song Euphoria by Jungkook was playing made it a billion times better. So I honestly can't wait to see what they do with Kat's character and her kind of relationship with Ethan. And I'm saying kind of relationship because they haven't made it official. Or have they? I don't know. But if the writers even try to mess their characters up, do you know what I would do? I will. You guessed it, I'll start burning down buildings. So all in all, I love Kat's character. I didn't love her all the time, but I still loved her in Ethan's character, Maddie. I actually don't have much to say about Maddie's character. I do like the fact that her character is not based on being Nate's love interest. She actually has a life. So who is Maddie? Well, Maddie is a person who actually doesn't want to do anything. She doesn't have any goals. Like seriously, Maddie isn't interested in working or even having a career. All she wants to do is sit around and do nothing. And Maddie's life is actually not that bad. Like she has friends, and this is where he comes in. So Maddie has someone in her life that I hate, and that someone is Nate Jacobs, her boyfriend. But anyway, I honestly can't wait and see what they'll do with her character in season 2. because at the end of season 1, she tells Nate he's bad for her, and to be honest, I hope they break up in season 2. But oh well, we will see what will happen. And next is Nate. Now Nate is a character who I honestly hated so much. I'm not going to sugarcoat it because I really hated Nate, and it was just so hard to hate him because he's like seriously one of the best characters in the show. Like where writing is concerned, his character is actually very interesting, but I still hate him so much. I actually have a list of characters in TV shows that I hate so much, and on that list there is Jeffrey Lannister from Game of Thrones, Ramsay Bolton from Game of Thrones, and recently added is Nate Jacobs from Euphoria. But still, even though I hate him so much, I actually can't wait and see what they'll do with his character. So all in all, I'm actually not going to talk about this character and explain him because I'm now very tired, and it's now time for my final thoughts on everything. So all in all, I did love Euphoria, even though it had some small flaws that I didn't like, but I will overlook them for now. I love most of the characters, and I can't wait to see what the writers do with the characters in season 2. I love the visuals, cinematography, writing, acting, and the music so much, and I can't wait for January 9th so that I can watch Euphoria season 2 and Attack on Titan season 4 part B. So anyway, if you stuck with me through this video, then thank you so very much, and comment down below what you thought of the show and the characters, and please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Also check out my other videos. Also comment down below what other shows you think I should talk about next. Thanks for watching again, and see you guys later. Peace.
I don't know, I kind of feel the opposite. I feel like high school's super fucking suffocating.